His healing factor is his superpower. So big comic book guy over here, Bobo.
I love this stuff. I love this stuff.
Love it so much.
Huge, huge collection.
Oh, got it all.
Got it all. It's very well said.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the So Check tonight, Adam Markham, Bobby Reynolds. It is a chilly Tuesday evening here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Boys, it's good to see y'all's faces. Last time we were in the So Check, future of the country was on the line. It was election night. I realized also we have like Christmas Eve coming up for one of the episodes. So some big dates on the calendar coincide with the recording schedule. I'm happy to spend this time with you boys.
Sure. No one else would rather spend the most important moments in my life with than you boys.
What'd you do for Christmas? Oh, I was recording a podcast, doing a Week 16 recap with the boys.
That just means that now, instead of staying up till like maybe 12 or 1 putting stuff together, you're going to see maybe 3 o'clock that night.
You're going to touch wake-up time.
Yeah, for sure.
The kids might be stirring by the time you are headed back to bed.
What week is that? Is that week 17?
I think that may be the Week 16 preview I think it may be Week 17 because that's the championship, right?
Okay, well, we may just punt that.
Yeah, just like
best of luck.
Good luck, guys. We've taken you this far.
Me and Adam will send in a little iPhone recording.
Yeah.
Josh can.
I can have 2 cardboard cutouts of you guys.
Or you could AI us. Didn't you do that a while back?
Yeah,
just have me and Adam say whatever you want us to.
It's certainly
it's the best you guys have ever sounded.
Yep, true.
I agree.
Best you guys have ever sounded.
A lot of people would want that version. I think
a lot of people are saying, "Give us AI."
Yeah.
Addie and Bobby.
A lot of bad takes, though.
Yeah.
Might sound good, but what comes out, not real helpful.
Yeah.
Slightly worse batting average, probably, than y'all.
Sure.
Anyways, welcome. Glad you guys are here. These two are not AI tonight. It is not Christmas Eve.
Real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Real deal, Holyfield.
In person.
Bad beer and all.
Yeah. Won't be, this won't get any lower, this beer. This is not a good beer. Do not recommend the...
Dirty Bastard from Founders.
Yeah, not good.
If he starts choking, will you grab the beer if it's a situation where...
I don't think so. I'll probably just reach over drink whatever you boys have. So.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair, Bobo.
Yeah, the Holyfield, I've been seeing a lot of the Mike Tyson this week. I can't wait for that to happen. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care.
I'm going to watch the highlights of it on Twitter. That's typically how I approach fights. It's just like, I'm not going to pay for this thing or watch it.
I thought we were all going to get together and watch this thing.
I forgot about that.
We did did commit to watching that.
My bad, Adam.
Darn.
Thought we were going to pay $120
each.
I mean, we'll split it.
We'll split it. Yeah, $40 a piece.
Yeah. Can we not just
$50 worth of food?
Yeah, we could. That would be something fun.
Do we think Tyson's just going to knock Paul's head off his shoulders?
For sure.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
That would be amazing.
Hope this is the end of the Paul.
The Paul
boy.
Someone tweeted, I hope that Mike Tyson hits that boy so hard it kills his brother too.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be the worst thing.
Would be great.
Yeah. Little double action.
Get America back on track. Yeah. Come on, Mike.
Mike, we need this, dude. We know you're pushing 60. I think he almost is 60.
It could unite us, honestly.
It could be the moment.
It could unite all of us.
Yes, it could be the moment we all come together as a country.
Some algo rhythm. Sorry, gosh.
Algorithm. All right. Boomer.
Welcome to Kentucky. But I got hit today with a little training video from both of them.
I did too. It's
a different training methodology. Jake Paul's over hopping around on one leg. And
having somebody punch his chest while he's
Tyson's just barreling some dude over and over.
The poor dude with the wrap, that's taking the blows.
Body shot.
Can you imagine taking body shots, even with that padding from Mike Tyson?
How old is Tyson?
I think he's almost 60.
Good gosh.
Yeah. So
just hopefully he doesn't pull something.
Yeah, or I mean, you do lose that speed and those reflexes a little bit.
I'm a natural born killer. He's what did he call it?
He's a made up, he's a fake killer.
Yeah. Give me chills. I've seen that too. It gave me chills.
I'm not doubting that is the truth, though. That's like some Ray Lewis. You've probably killed people before at some point, Mike.
Probably.
Yeah. So welcome in. All sorts of talk here on the IDP show. It's the Week 10 recap. We're going to be going over the biggest storylines from the week
10.
that was in IDP. Yeah, we're in the double digit, boys. We made it.
Wow. We're here.
We made it.
We're here.
And end of the season's coming fast. We're just trying to hold off. People are getting cut. People are getting hurt. People are getting benched. Mm-hmm. We're in that time of the year where it's just like the Robert Downey Jr. gift from Tropic Thunder, just survive.
Hang in there, man.
Just survive. Just keep going.
And there's all kinds of value that's just coming out of nowhere. You know, Jack Gibbons, latest example of this, and that's going to continue to happen over these next half of the season. So, we'll be there to guide you through it all.
What about Ernest Jones? What a weird, circuitous kind of journey he's had going to Tennessee. Puts Jack Gibbons on ice, right? Then Jerome Baker comes over from Seattle. Ernest goes there. Baker's on ice, and then he gets Tyrell Dodson kicked out of town, and Dodson signs with the Dolphins. So it's been a weird season for Ernest Jones, Bobo.
Hey, for somebody who lost his job, he's been making a lot of people lose their jobs.
I know. He's kind of been the Grim Reaper when it comes to people losing their jobs because of Ernest.
It's I thought about Cashman this weekend. You know, we are getting a lot of people are hurt right now, but we're all also getting a little bit of help back. You know, Cashman's back now a little bit.
I saw they're going to be opening or close to opening up the practice window for Matt Milano.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know.
Yeah, what's that going to mean for Dorian Williams? He's been great. I guess he's going to be back to the bench.
Maybe.
Are we talking about Omar Spates?
We can.
I mean, his playing time shot through the roof.
It did indeed.
Is Reeder hurt?
He's on IR with the hamstring.
So,
Roseboom has been great, but he got hurt, right?
His
snaps were down. His snaps were down maybe in this last game.
I don't think he did get hurt. He about had 2 picks. He had one really good pick. He almost had another nasty one, but the Rams suck. So
yeah, he was 62% of snaps. Omar Spates was up to 73.6.
I don't think Roseboom got hurt. If he did, I missed that.
But he's been awesome.
9 tackles for Spates. So
yeah. Spates played good.
Yeah, it's potential that Troy Reeder will be back at some point soon. So
headache situation.
Short-term IR. But let's get into it, boys, and let's start at the top. It was a boom game from a big name, especially from 2023, Nnamdi Asomugha. That is a throwback right there. Nnamdi Madubuike is who we're talking about tonight. He had a monster 2023, 13 sacks this season, a little bit down. Week 10, though, he was the top scorer, 3 sacks on Thursday against the Bengals, which equaled 60% of his current season total of 5 sacks, and they're his first sack since Week 6. Elsewhere, though, Addy, Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Oweh, been really quiet the last 6 weeks. Both were top 10 in sacks through the first 4 weeks, with 6 for Van Noy and 4.5 for Oweh. The underlying metrics have remained strong in the past 6 weeks. Neither has recorded more than 1 sack apiece. And in the case of Van Noy, he scored more than 8 points just once in that span per Big 3 scoring. So started hot, cooled off. Here comes Madubuike. Welcome to defensive line. This is just how it goes.
Yeah, it's how it goes, right? I mean, Van Noy started hot, now he cools off. Madubuike starts off cold, now he's getting hot.
Yeah.
Right. That's just the way it goes. But you're right. I mean, the metrics have been good for all those guys. And Van Noy and Oweh, I mean, they're just matchup-based starts, you know. Like, we've talked about that a lot this year, that they're kind of just in that big middle, you know, of guys that, you know, edge 15 to 50, honestly. They're, you know.
They can go up and down based on the matchup.
Right. And, you know, Van Noy's had some pretty decent matchups lately. Like, I've actually been starting him. So that has, you know, sucked that he hasn't come through, you know, in the sack department for us. But I still think he's, you know, someone that you can roll out there if the matchup is right.
Good player, good team, good metrics.
Feels like he's due for a big one, right?
This is the variance we talk about.
They play the Steelers this week. Like, that's going to be – everyone's going to be amped up for that one. Like, I could see Van Noy having a big one this week. So,
yeah,
I understand they're not, you know, shying away from him because he's not been good lately.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
That's just the game, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that I have Van Noy primarily in best ball because he's just one of those where it would be really frustrating. I can see why in like start 2 defensive end leagues people might advocate for just like get 2 studs and just lock that position down.
Definitely,
because it can be very frustrating to have to stream.
Same with like Will McDonald, right? Like he started off red hot and he's been
Keon White's another one we've had a lot of questions about.
He had a big week against Chicago, so that was nice to see. But yeah, that's just how it's going to be, especially with these young guys. You know, we don't really know how they produce yet, but I mean, they'll be fine. Metrics are good for the most part. You know, it's just it really is the position. We say it a lot, but it's the truth, man. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah,
you know?
Take the
play
ups
best
and the
ball.
downs.
If you can't handle it, just play best ball.
Exactly. And if, or just play in those leagues where you start a ton of guys, because it is frustrating to have to start 2 defensive ends and then you pick the wrong 2, right? And there's 50 points on your bench and 15 in your starting lineup. I get that. But yeah.
Hopefully, I think our audience is smart enough to where they're in leagues like that. Like, if you're in one of these sleeper leagues, hopefully you're starting at least 3, but I prefer like 4 or 5, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get you some Bud Dupree in your lineups.
Well, especially D tackle and DN mixed in together. The pool is just super deep.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Bobo, Madubuike, that was one of your little man crushes from last year, back in the stat column in a big way for Week 10.
Yeah, I mean, Adam was right in the, I think this was one of his little mini flag plants that Madubuike was
45.
Yeah, he was just going to have a little regression, and he has, he kind of regressed to the mean a little bit. It seemed like, how many sacks did he have last year?
13.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's an outlier season for him.
Most he'll ever have.
Yeah, for sure. Madubuike is great, very disruptive, defensively, maybe like a top 5 D tackle in the NFL.
I could see that, yeah.
Paid
like it.
But I mean, that's kind of, we've talked about the variance with defensive ends, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt. There's just there's not really a set in stone. This guy's going to get you 16 points every single week, no less, no more. And defensive tackle is the exact same as well. There's just certain matchups and certain weeks where these guys just pop off and it kind of connects. But it's just it's out of character for us to really recommend you to don't stream D tackle. Just roll these guys out, and they're eventually going to have a good week. There's going to be a couple of down weeks where they get you just a couple of tackles, but you're going to feel foolish not having a guy like Madubuike in your
start your
lineup.
studs.
Yeah, for sure.
Start your studs. It'll come. DeForest Buckner, speaking of defensive tackle studs, his return has been a sight for sore eyes. The Colts may be circling the toilet, but DeForest Buckner continues to be a stud. 5 pressures on Sunday. He didn't collect a sack for the first time since returning from injury in Week 8. In the past 3 games, Buckner has 14 pressures and a 15.4% pressure rate. Don't believe what you're seeing on Twitter. 15.4% pressure rate, especially from a D tackle, is incredible. He also has a 90.3 pass rush grade from PFF this past week from 4 hurries and 1 QB hit. His next 3 matchups are the Jets, Lions, and Patriots. Some juicy matchups for DeForest Buckner. He's a top 3 defensive tackle going forward the rest of the season, maybe D tackle 1.
He's a stud. Number 2 in points per game, number 2 in points per snap among defensive tackles.
Who's number 1?
Addy
been doing work in the spreadsheets, folks, in case you don't know.
D tackle?
He's been updating the points per snap, points per game, getting the logs, getting the splits. I'm trying to vamp as long as I can, Addy. I can't imagine who would be ahead of DeForest Buckner.
Well, it depends. I mean, remember, I've been working on some stuff, folks. I've done this little thing where we've ranked.
Oh, yes, that's right. You've got some cool little metrics in
there.
Kind of got
like a little true rank is what we're calling it.
Oh, I love that. Copyright.
Right. That's what the folks are
TRU or TRUE?
I don't know. We're still
I kind of like just the U.
I kind of like that as well.
Just going straight into the rank from there.
Please don't steal that.
Yeah.
It's already stolen,
Get
Addy.
sued by that hotel.
Yeah. But what we're doing is, so I've just...
Don't get sued by a hotel, folks. It would not be good.
We can cover it, I think, right? We're doing
we're fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Do we have any lawyers in the listener base?
I'm sure we do. We've got smart listeners out there.
Very smart listeners.
All right, so what I've done is I've sorted by total points, and I've ranked that, 1 through whatever. And then I've sorted by points per game. Then I've ranked that, and then I've sorted by points per snap. And I've ranked that. So we have a average ranking of total points, points per game, and points per snap.
The true rank.
You get us a true
rank. If
so
you will.
Among defensive tackles right now, the best we have is Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, well, duh. There we go.
Because he's number 1 in total points. He's number 1 in points per game. He's number 8 in points per snap.
Wow.
Okay.
So actually, he's number 1 in the league.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Sexy Dexy.
As far as just like efficiency, what he's doing on a per snap basis, points per game, total finish. So he's been I mean, you could say maybe the best value pick.
Wow. Probably will be some defensive or IDP MVP picks for some people.
I'd say so.
Will be
But I
Dexter
mean,
Lawrence.
you also got to kind of. I mean, we already saw it the last 2 weeks. You got to expect him to kind of cool off.
Yeah.
Because he started so hot, 9 sacks through the first whatever.
That's
8.
insane.
Yeah.
That's not going to keep up. So, yes, Buckner is good. Madubuike is good. Sexy Dexy is good. What do we think about, though, the replacement for Paulson Adebo, Ugo Amadi, Addy?
Yeah.
Going to be a hot waiver wire name this week. He played 100% of the snaps. 87% of those were in the slot. Of course, we know Paulson Adebo gone. I think it was a, broken femur? Like something crazy for Paulson Adebo. Marshawn Lattimore gone to Washington. Amadi is the new slot corner for New Orleans. That's a massively productive role. He had 24.25 points. You could do worse than Ugo Amadi if you're looking for, the New Orleans cornerbacks for a while there were 1 and 2 in the DB scoring ranks. So
yeah, they've been incredible. I mean, if you look at them, weeks 1 through 9, Alontae Taylor's number 1 in total points. He's number 4 in points per game. He's number 24 in points per snap. Adebo was number 2 in total points, still 3 in points per game, and then 28 in points per snap. So yeah, I mean, yes, we just saw him have like a 25-point game in his first.
correct.
Yeah, this is got potential here. I mean, it's
Worth a scoop.
absolutely.
Pick him up.
And anytime if he's playing the slot, he's playing a lot of snaps. Those high leverage snaps, slot, box.
That's where we want him.
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, he's worth an ad.
Bobo, what do you make of the Denver pass rushing situation now? Baron Browning off to Arizona. We got more sacks for Nick Bon Appetit. Mahomes, they got after Mahomes in that matchup. Crazy ending to that game. Chiefs blocking the field goal.
Leo Chenal
Absolutely destroying the guy across from him on the field goal and making the leaping block for the Chiefs. So just a crazy season the Chiefs are having. A lot of wild ways. Remember, I forgot until they showed the montage. The Week 1 win against the Ravens was because Isaiah Likely's big toenail was on the back of the end zone line.
Yeah, I saw they could be like easily 500.
A lot of like close games. They played the Bengals the next week and had that pass interference on 4th down that gave the Chiefs field goal position, and they won it on the field goal.
Just find a way.
Find a way to win.
Do it.
That's
I think
what good
Pacheco's
teams do.
coming
Yeah.
back. Maybe, probably not this week. I wouldn't.
I
think.
can't believe he's back.
I
I saw
know,
it there.
man.
Whoa, I thought he was donezo.
Also, another D end that they're bringing back off IR. Man,
I think I saw the same tweet. It was like 3 guys that are close to coming back off IR for the Chiefs.
not anybody very memorable. I was gonna say something about the Chiefs real quick before we move on. Xavier Worthy's had a weird year. For a guy
Yes,
in
he
the
has.
rookie pre-draft process, he was like right around like Brock Bowers kind of range, like middle of the first.
Yeah.
I don't know. Xavier Worthy's been a little strange. His yards per route run continues to drop every single week.
One of the worst plays, I think it was him, right? Was he the one where he jumped and then like his feet kind of floated back out of bounds along the sideline or something?
I think that was Jonathan Mingo.
Was that Mingo?
Yeah.
He had a similar one though.
Okay.
Xavier Worthy.
It's just
he
bad.
seems like he's a little unaware, like where he is on the
how
sideline.
the field works. I mean,
Yeah.
Adonai Mitchell's had the same problem for the Colts as well. Getting 1 foot in bounds instead of 2 when he easily could have got 2 down.
Yeah, he's definitely a bust.
Bust. All these guys.
If I
are
haven't
bust.
seen it by week 9 or 10, bust.
Big old bust. 2 busts in a row, unfortunately, in the first round for the Colts.
Yeah.
Hate to see it. So, yes, Mahomes, they were getting after him in this matchup. He was sacked 4 times, 2 of those going to Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito. Cooper and Benito have 6.5 and 7 sacks so far on the season and are well within reach of their career highs of 8.5 and 8, both of which they set last year. The next 5 weeks, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Cleveland, bye week, Indy. Double-digit sacks, Addy, within reach for both of these players.
They're getting those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, man. They're a fun defense. I mean, you look at your, the top DST scores, in your little normie leagues. Denver's up there, man.
Yes.
They've been good. You look at their log, like they've been a tough matchup for all these offenses. So, they're fun. I mean, Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, like, could we see Drew Sanders come in at some point? That was the talk, right?
That's right.
People forget about him.
Yes, I forgot all about
You
Drew
know?
Sanders, Bobo.
And that also may have been why they're like, we can get out of here, Baron Browning.
Yeah.
Like,
I also forgot that Justin Simmons isn't there anymore.
Yep.
You know?
He's
Doing it all
gone.
without him. Pat Surtain's
PJ
been
Locke
pretty
has
good.
been good, and then Brandon Johnson's been really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say Zach Allen, we had a note here as well. He notched his 5th sack on the season. He's just half a sack shy of his career best through just 10 games. He is also tracking about a 1.5 above his career best of 13.45 points per game, which he did in Arizona in 2022. He was DL 63 this offseason.
Wow.
What a steal Zach Allen has been.
Yeah, crazy.
All these Denver DL, because it was like, who do you want? Zach Allen was the guy we jokingly said that you want. Turns out you just want all
Yeah.
of them. They're
Benito
all been
was
really
great.
good.
Yeah. Jonathan Cooper's been awesome. Slept on.
Got-
Brandon
got a-
Jones.
got
Sorry,
a bit-
not Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson's
I was like-
in a couple fantasy leagues.
Shout out, Brandon.
Real big head.
Real big
Real
head.
big head.
Too big. Need to deflate that head a little bit. All right, Bobo, this next point is just for you.
Oh, boy.
Frankie Luvu. Frankie loves a sack. He's been kind of the tale of two halves when it comes to his scoring this season. In 6 games without a sack, he is averaging 7.17 points per game. In the 4 games with a sack, 23.31. Part of the problem, he's only averaging 6 tackles per game, which is a 10.2 rate, and only 10 pass rushes per game. A lot of inconsistencies, very boom bust. How are you feeling? You made a trade for Frankie. Do you still have Frankie, or is Frankie gone again?
I traded Frankie.
Poor Frankie.
I don't even remember now what I traded Frankie Luvu for Bobby Okereke straight up.
And then shipped Bobby O off, didn't
And then
you?
I shipped Bobby O off. I don't know for what. I can't remember now at this point. Yeah, you're right. I'm still okay with Frankie Luvu. I mean, that's just the type of player that he is right now. You know, he's only got double-digit tackles in 1 game so far this season, but he does have sacks in 4 of 10 games. That's just kind of what you're getting. I mean, I don't really see him as an LB1. You know, I don't really want him locked in at my LB1 spot. But for an LB2, LB3, he's an awesome flex.
I was going to say, his ideal, I feel like, position in your lineup is as that big swing flex kind of guy.
he'll give you like a couple LB1 weeks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's who he's always been. I mean,
He is who
he's
he's
fine.
always been.
You know,
He is who we thought he was.
100 tackles, 5+ sacks. Like,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, let's go.
And that was the whole offseason narrative, too, of like, you know, is Quinn going to use him more like Micah Parsons? And we kind of reeled back on that, saying he's not going to be full-time Micah Parsons, but he is probably going to see more pass rush snaps because I think that's what he's
And he
better
has Bobby
at.
Wagner next to him. Of course, he's
Yeah.
only averaging 6 tackles per game.
So he's got an interesting little stretch coming up. So he plays at Philadelphia this week, so that's not great. But then he's got maybe Cooper Rush in Week 12. Then he has whoever Tennessee's going to roll out in Week 13. A very bummer of a bye in Week 14. I'm not a big fan of that Week 14 bye. But then New Orleans, Philly, Atlanta to finish.
I want to roll him out against bad quarterbacks and
Yeah.
bad offensive lines.
Yep.
Because I think that's where you could really see him do some damage.
That Dallas, Tennessee, New Orleans little stretch right there could be fun for Luvu.
Yeah. But why are we talking about Frankie Luvu? We're not
wanna
talking
talk
about
about-
Dante Fowler.
I was going to say,
baby.
it was
Wow.
so funny. I got a notification on YouTube that someone went back to our Dante Fowler YouTube short that we made that said is a 10th year breakout coming for Dante Fowler in Washington. I'm guessing this was probably after he landed there this offseason, and
Yeah.
they said, good call. I
Yeah,
was like, thank you. I
Thank
liked
you.
it. I gave it the heart reaction because, yeah, Dante Fowler,
He's,
what a revelation.
since week 6, so over his last 5 games, 24.6 points per game. That is third most in the league right now.
Absolute heater.
Behind Trey Hendrickson, who had a 60-point game, and Alex Highsmith.
Who just, I think, is out for the game against the Ravens.
Yeah, right. And his log isn't like his is he's been hurt. So his Fowler's got 5 full games.
Yep.
Doing the damn thing.
Good defense, good coach.
Yeah.
Followed his coach over from Dallas. I mean,
Juice is back in the building,
yep.
right? Like
Good team.
and right, I don't think a lot of people had these expectations for them, this soon. So I mean that, when stuff like that is going your way, like, man, that locker room's got to be fired up, dude.
Yeah.
And also, it's like a bunch of cast-offs, right? Like, I'm
Yes,
sure
that
like,
defense, they totally remade it with just a bunch of spare parts.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. And, those guys are like a bunch of vets, so, like, they all, they've been around for a little bit. So I'm sure, like, they're really enjoying this moment. It's cool to see, man. Dante Fowler, awesome. The metrics were there for him. Like, that's why you pay attention to this stuff. That's why it matters.
29.4% pressure rate this past week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but he was awesome last season. Like, he was, like, I think he had, like, a top 12 rate.
That's why you were saying, like, could he be this sort of, like, I can't remember who we, like, comped him to as far as, like, a breakout, late career, unsexy, where did this come from kind of performance. But, yeah, I mean, and it's funny, 50% of snaps, right?
Yeah, they just gone up and up. I mean, and rightfully so. Like, we talked about that too. Like, I mean, yes, we can expect the snaps to go up when guys are performing like this. Like, you cannot take this guy off the field at this point.
Well, and it's him and Dorrance Armstrong. Like we've talked about before when we mentioned Fowler, it's Clellan Ferrell and F.A. Obata behind him.
They don't have a choice.
Unless somebody gets hurt or something drastic changes, I think Fowler's going to be out there, Bobo.
Yeah, kind of like he's a little different than Kyle Van Noy just because of the way he plays. But
that probably was Van Noy.
That's who it was. Yeah.
It also kind of reminds me of a little bit of the dude in Vegas who retired a year or two ago. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Chandler Jones.
Yeah,
He
similar.
Just
before it really
bunches.
fell off,
Right.
Chandler Jones had a couple fun years there to finish.
Well, and
should have had a better finish.
We forget, too, Dante Fowler, like, fourth overall pick or something.
Fourth overall pick, and he's also, like, done this plenty before. Like, he had a 12-sack season once for the Rams, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, alongside Aaron Donald.
Yep.
So, I mean, this I think he had maybe a decent year for the Jags once.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be that surprising,
Good coach, unlocks, good player, And these guys, you don't typically see it as much with edge because that's such a burst and speed kind of position, but, like, you mainly see it more with, like, defensive talent, like these guys age like fine wine, like a Cam Hayward and, some of these older guys that are still doing it. Calais Campbell still doing the damn thing in Miami.
Ex-Jaguar.
Yeah, right? But edge rushers can do it too. I mean, you still see these guys have to get a little craftier once the speed slows down a little bit.
A lot of interesting people through Jacksonville. Fowler, Calais Campbell, the guy who got hurt for the Colts not too long ago. Not Uchenna. Oh, my gosh. Why can I not come up with his name? This is going to drive me insane.
You have to look this up, Bobo. I'm not sure
have
who
to.
you're referencing here.
He played really well in Josh Allen's rookie season. Anyways, I'll look it up.
It's Josh Allen.
Josh Hines, not Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. Gosh, this is going to drive me crazy now. Anyways, this is great. This is great podcasting. So
Dante Fowler's been great.
I'm going to look it up.
Much better than we thought.
Get cut. Don't worry
So
about it.
speaking of old takes or whatever that kind of got brought back up, this is interesting. So somebody hit up one of my mower thoughts from May the 9th.
Oh, that's funny.
About more likely Nick Bolton has an LB2 season or Jonathan Grenard has a DL1 season. I just thought that was a nice fun little dig up. I think Adam would definitely say more likely Nick Bolton has a LB2 season, But Grenard's been pretty good. He probably hadn't been quite a DL1, but he's been pretty damn good.
It is funny when people go resurface old stuff. Like,
it's like, did you look up like Nick Bolton and Jonathan Grenard?
What is the search query that led to this?
Very interesting.
So yeah, Washington got a lot of good IDP options. But Bob, I'm just going to tee up on this next one.
Also, I
as well.
disrespected Fowler. He's actually number 2. I had a little typo in there. It's
So it is.
It's Hendrickson and then Fowler.
Coming off the 60. So
25
Fowler,
points per game since week 6.
Consistently has been better because Hendrickson had that big blow-up game in there.
Yeah.
Which really helped
Fowler's
juice.
been the best edge rusher over the last 5 weeks.
Just like we all predicted, guys. Yep. Just like Andrew Van Ginkel and Dante Fowler.
Truly, I mean, it is insane. Like the log he has. I mean, from week 6 on, 29.5 week 6, 35.2 week 7, 0.75 week 8, 31.2 the next week, and then 26.75.
So one stinker, and then just like
4 games over 25 points.
4 like kind of league or game-winning performances right there.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about defensive tackles. Bobo, I'll cue you up on this next one here. Bob loves Calijah and can't see him not being a stud.
Oh my gosh.
I can't read all of these headlines because I'll have a stroke, but that one was pretty good. So find yourself someone in life who loves you as much as Bobo loves Calijah Kancey. You've been all in on Kancey since the pre-draft process in 2023, and he's looking bang on the mark as he could be right amidst the breakout. After missing weeks 1 through 5 due to injury, Kancey is averaging 15.89 points per game and has 4 sacks in his 5 games since this season. The Pitt product was often compared to Aaron Donald due to size and where he went to college. I think we can also add level of affection from Bobo to that comparison chart. I'll just give you the solo cam and let you talk about Calijah Kancey a little bit, Bob.
I mean, there's not really much that I can say that hasn't been said so far. I mean, Calijah Kancey is a guy that I was probably in on, admittedly, because there was a lot of ties to him and Aaron Donald, the guy that I just retired in the XFL. Now another Pittsburgh Panther coming out of, college. Calijah Kancey kind of being comped to, could he be like Aaron Donald? So, yeah, naturally I was going to, be paying attention to this type of dude. But, yeah, man, Kancey's been a stud. I think this is 5 sacks now in the last 3 weeks. The PFF numbers are great. Pressure rate is great. I am head over heels completely for Calijah Kancey. I was even kind of talking a little bit with Wohlert, I think this weekend of how high could we maybe see Kancey as far as, the defensive tackle dynasty ranks. Is he now pretty firmly in that top 5 category? I mean, he is for me. Adam, you're the dino ranker. How high are you going to let my boy
I think we
get?
talked about it last week, and he set D-tackle 6 last we had this discussion.
Yeah, we have him at 4 right now.
Oh, has he moved up?
Oh, boy.
Excellent.
Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons, Quentin Williams, Calijah Kancey.
Wow.
Jalen Carter underneath him.
So Jalen fell a little bit for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think Kancey is a type that has could have multiple seasons of 10+ sacks.
Love to see it.
He would have probably been there this season if he didn't miss first 4 or 5 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, out weeks 1 through 5 it says. So
yeah, he's awesome, man.
Welcome
fan.
back.
Big fan.
Happy to have Kancey back. A lot of these D tackles were getting back off of injury. So him and DeForest Buckner both.
Yeah, he also
good to
been
have
playing
them
better
back.
lately as well. So I mean, yeah, they got a fun little group there.
Did the Niners win that game against the Bucs?
They did.
There you go. Okay. I just the only highlight I saw from that game was Baker
It was close.
stiff arming, holding off Bosa with one arm.
Yeah, it was decently close.
I think they had another big injury, didn't they?
Yannick Ngakoue.
There we go.
How did that take so
yeah.
long?
Yeah, unique Ngakoue, as we
Unique.
found out, who was just cut by the Pats. I think he signed with the Pats and then was cut by the Pats.
Did he start the year with y'all?
No, I don't think so. I think he
Was
started.
he ever a Colt?
Yeah, I think
last
he was
year?
at some point. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. We don't have to.
You
Talk
found
about
it,
that
though. I'm
anymore.
proud of
Man,
you.
that was
I'm
driving-
proud of you.
driving
I'm going to
crazy.
check the career stats just to make sure he did play for the Colts, but I think he did at some point. So number 7 here, let's go back to the DB well. We had a little bit of conversation, kickoff rules. What's this going to look like for especially DBs? Marcus Jones was a guy that kind of got tossed around a little bit as like a post-hype breakout or post-hype sleeper at least. And after he missed most of 2023 due to injury, he's having a little bit of a bounce back. Currently sitting a CB8, DB21 on the season, 11.1 points per game. He started slow, but since week 6, he's averaging 13.47 points per game. And the return yards are playing a huge part in that. Over the past 3 weeks, he's averaging 62 return yards per game. So if you took a little late round flyer on Marcus Jones, it's been paying off a little bit so far.
Yeah, I mean the return yard stuff is what's boosting him, of
Yep.
course. So I mean, you wonder dynasty, how real is it? But I mean, he's probably kind of cheap. I mean, it might be worth finding out. It could be the next Keyshawn Nixon, at least for the next couple of years, and that is Nixon's number, I think 5 right now in total points among
Yeah,
cornerbacks.
if you made a little bet on some of these return boys at cornerback, it's been
you're doing really well. I mean,
Did
if
okay.
you're starting Marcus Jones and Nixon every week, you're pleased.
Is this a sell window for Jones at all, you think?
Yeah, I mean, because he had no value before, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, now he's ticked up to you could get a 4th for him.
I was going to
think,
say,
to
if you can
contender.
get a 4th, cha-ching, see
And
ya.
I feel like a lot of the people that have Jones are probably pretty heavily invested because there was the finish to the 2022 season.
Yeah, where he went bonkers.
Where he went crazy, and then they probably overinvested in 2023.
Yeah.
You know, so now you've got
He's going to get offensive and special team and defensive snaps again.
Yeah, let him
Like,
rip.
no, that team was just very bad.
But I mean, like,
It's just something I don't like to bet long term on their turn yards. So
I think
Exactly.
it's probably the biggest trap door for me.
For sure.
That and like a high interception total from a DB the previous year is just not something you want to bank on.
the only DB that I've ever banked on, and that's pretty much wherever he's moved has gotten actually that run, was Desmond King. Desmond King, wherever he went, was going to get a fair amount of punt and kick return yards. But you're exactly right, Josh. I mean, like a Dory Jackson, it came and went for him. Keyshawn Nixon maybe could even be a nice little sell right now too. For a competitor, it's kind of a weird window to really say that he's a sell. But
If you're a competitor and you want to buy,
there's always that
Marcus
next-
Jones and Keyshawn Nixon to plug into your CB spot and just set it and forget it and have that. Now you got to make sure this is kick and punt return leagues, right?
right. Yeah, but don't expect much outside of this year.
Yeah, I think this would be a play. Let me float you all a trade because this isn't going to end up happening in our league now. So I just want to get y'all's take on it. So obviously, Aiden Hutchinson on the shelf right now. In our league, Sam competing, going to be in the playoffs, looking good. Hutch is on IR. He has Highsmith and Karlaftis as his two starting defensive ends. Now, Highsmith is going to be out. He's week to week, according to Mike Tomlin. So I was thinking, all right, AVG, got him. I think he's expiring. I think he's on a $500,000 expiring contract, right? He's DN1 in our RSO league. What plus AVG could equal Hutch? What would be a fair deal? If Sam was like, I really need to replace Highsmith now in the lineup. Hutch is gone. Like, let me make a push here.
Man,
Or do you even do that deal? Do you just say, I'd rather hold Hutch and just figure it out at DN2?
Yeah, I would probably just hold Hutch because I would.
That's where Sam came
Because
down.
I think you expect AVG to regress the second half a little bit. Like I still think he's gonna be great. Still think he's gonna be like a top 24 option for you every week. But he also has like 2 pick sixes,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, that's not gonna happen. He's not gonna,
Not gonna have a pick
he's not
six
gonna have
every
2
game.
in the second half.
Dang.
But I
killing
mean,
my sales pitch.
I just don't think that I want to give up Aiden Hutchinson without getting more. I'll try and I'll figure it out a different way. I'm not gonna panic and move him for something like that, especially for a player that I do think is gonna regress a little bit. But AVG plus a second,
That's where we were kind of coming down. Is like, that's probably fair. I don't know that I want to give AVG plus a first, but
That's what it's going to cost.
I might have.
Right,
I might
exactly.
That
I
was-
wouldn't want to give that up though. I wouldn't want to give up a first for him either.
That's the thing too. Is coming off. We think he'll be fine coming off the broken leg, the double leg break, but it is a question mark.
It's just been a pretty devastating year for just IDP fantasy value, just because we've had so many big names go down.
It's like we put him up there to try to get him rehabbed off the Achilles, and then he tears the ACL, and it's just like,
And
Man.
Micah Parsons has been out. Aiden Hutchinson is taking a massive hit. So it's just like, man, these are the most exciting pieces we've had, and just from
it's been brutal.
all to get hurt. I don't know, and I think it just puts people.
Foye went out for a
Foye
stretch.
went out for a stretch. I think it just puts it in perspective for people. It's like, ugh, I don't want to overinvest in these pieces, right?
You just said Dante Fowler's the best.
Right, man.
edge
I
rusher
mean,
of
you
the
can
last
do it that way. You
4 or 5 weeks.
Zack Baun. I mean, if you have Zack Baun and Dante Fowler,
Marcus
and
Jones and
Jack
Keyshawn Nixon.
Gibbons in those corners, you are balling right now.
Fowler's a LB in the XFL.
Yeah.
I need to change that.
Yeah.
Who has him?
Adam?
No, I think Sam's got him.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna tell Sam. He needs to switch him. That's much better lined up as a DN than an LB.
That'll hurt your trade potential right there.
Yeah, that's fine. The deal's already dead. I just wanted to shop it with you guys. It's just kind of an interesting situation. My thought was you've got a window here to really make a push. Sam is a good team, and Hutch is doing nothing for you. So you just go all in to try to win it.
I like the idea. I like the weasel.
Well, just trying to get a little
No, it makes sense, but I mean, I think it would make a lot more sense for Sam if like AVG was on like a 3-year deal.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the extension number to see what it is.
But it also too
Like
like
you don't want to pay him a lot, right? His extension number is probably crazy.
It's DN1. He's probably going to want like $12 million a year or more.
I mean, in that deal, AVG needs to be a little bit better, in my opinion. Like it needs to be somebody a little better than AVG.
I mean, he's been the best in that league this
so
year.
In essence, I would like Grenard better than AVG.
No.
Tuli.
No. You're just naming the
Hold
dudes on his roster.
Hold on. Let me think.
He's trying to work it out to where Adam can trade for Hutch.
I'm trying to
what
think
the hell
here.
is going on here?
Be like, I mean, like you're like a Brian Burns, like a Calijah Kancey. Would you do a Kancey plus a second?
So
for
Kancey's
Aiden
a
Hudson?
D tackle in here.
Are you trying to get more dynasty value? Because it's like, I mean, AVG has been fairly consistent too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a locked in DN1 for you, top 12 this year. Just this year.
For you, he was. For Sam, he's going to be like a.
Well, it's Karloftis and now Highsmith on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a need for him for sure. But it's like.
That's all I was saying is if you had a need and you were in a window, would it make sense to cash out potentially? But he decided to hold him. And yeah,
it'd be
I
like,
get that.
Could you do like a Josh Hines Allen in a second for Aiden? Would you do that as the Hines Allen owner?
A second is the most I want to pay in terms of a pick for Aiden Hutchinson. I don't even think I would give up a first straight up for Hutch right now.
Yeah.
I'd rather go second plus like a high end defensive
I'm not
end.
doing that. I'm not making those. I'm not looking to make those moves.
I
to
just don't
buy
think the
Aiden.
Hutch manager is going to want to move off because
Right.
they're going to feel like they're selling low.
Right. I just wonder like what's it cost right now to acquire Aiden? I'm not acquiring him.
I think the
'Cause
gap
price
is
still
too
high.
big between what the manager is going to want and what you're going to be willing to pay.
Verse.
I think I want Verse at this point.
Oh, I
maybe.
agree, but I'm saying like I feel like the
Verse
Aiden
straight up for
manager
Hutch, you'd
is
rather just have Verse?
maybe
Verse doesn't have a
major
Shattered
injury.
leg.
Yeah.
Double broken leg.
Honestly, Josh, there's a lot of like if you would have told us like I'm moving like AVG and a first for Hutchinson, there's part of me that would maybe be like, I don't know that I would do that.
I wouldn't do that.
You know?
No,
wanted
I
to
wouldn't. I
see-
mean, like, Aiden should just cost a first by itself right now. Like, he
Agreed.
shouldn't add anything to it at all.
Yeah, AVG wants $16.75 million
Yeah.
for the next 4 years. 4 years, $67
So-
million. That's tough.
If it was like a cheaper, like 2-year, 3-year deal, like that would make it a lot easier, I think, to
Yeah.
get done.
Because you're basically just renting him for.
Just to lose him though, you
Yeah.
know, and also expect like to know that the regression is going to come a little bit.
So Sam's just gonna ride with Aiden.
Yeah, he's just going to keep him on IR and I guess try to figure out the other defensive end spot. So, but you mentioned Tuli. Let's talk about Tuli here. Tuli 2 sacks a game. That's better than trying to say his last name, I will say.
Yeah,
That's always just rolling the dice. They've got a budding young star for sure behind the established injury-prone vets. Tuli is just 22 years old. In his second season, he's also accumulated 5.5 sacks in the past 3 games, setting his season high for his career. So Tuli getting some run with Joey Bosa made of glass. Khalil Mack weirdly played 4 snaps in this game.
Yeah,
Nobody's been able to find like definitive reasoning because he wasn't, I don't think,
It's got to be just injury stuff.
He has,
just old and groin probably
Yeah.
dinged
He was
up.
questionable going into it.
Yeah.
Right, and just 4 snaps.
I don't think he practiced a lot last week.
May have
so
been something where he had those 4 snaps and was like, "Yep, I'm
Yeah,
done. Get me out of here."
Yeah.
There was enough info to where I had him out of rosters. It was like, yeah, this guy's not gonna play a whole lot.
Groin, hammy,
Yeah.
those sort of like soft tissue, lower
Who'd they
body
play?
injuries. They played the Chargers. Oh man, the Titans. They played the Titans.
So there you go. It's like, man,
We don't need you.
We don't
Get outta
need you to
here.
go
Rest.
sack Mason Rudolph.
and that team is juiced up.
They are.
They are fired up.
Harbaugh brings the juice, man. You can
Yep.
always count on that.
Herbert's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
But you mentioned Parsons as well, back on the field. So good to have him back.
It is nice to
That
have him
Cowboys team, talk about teams circling the toilet
Man.
under the glare of that late afternoon sun there in
Yeah,
Dallas.
welcome back, Micah. This team is going nowhere
Yeah,
now.
you've got Monday Night Football with Cooper Rush. At least there won't be sun in CeeDee Lamb's eyes to catch a touchdown pass.
Man.
But Parsons, has been injured since week 4, struggling before that. He had just 1 sack through the first 4 games. He had 2 sacks in this game, along with a forced fumble. Next up, Houston and C.J. Stroud, who's the second most sacked QB in the NFL currently. So we may be losing guys left, right, and center at defensive end, but we got Micah Parsons coming back at a really good time.
Yeah, that's nice. That is nice. But how inspired is he going to be, you know?
He still hasn't been paid.
Yeah.
I don't think, has he? Did he get the bag? I don't think he got the bag.
Nope. he has not been
Dak
paid.
got the bag and CD got the bag,
Yep.
but
Right.
not Micah, right?
Yeah, Micah could be somewhere else. You know, we could see him, you know, potentially moving.
He's saying, yeah, what was his comment about, like, Mike
yeah.
McCarthy can go anywhere he wants, but these guys are here under contract. And who was it? Damian Woody on Get Up called him podcast boy.
Called Micah Parsons out?
Yes, he said that's the problem with all these podcast boys. You've been off the field nursing an injury, and now you're here running your mouth about your head coach on the podcast. It's like, that's actually a kind of a fair point.
That was a bad look from Micah Parsons saying that.
Yeah.
Saying that, you know, none of these, and that's probably true, but, you know, saying that, implying that McCarthy doesn't work hard. I mean, that's kind of I think what I took away from or doesn't work hard enough, right?
I mean, that's kind of Mike McCarthy's rap, though.
He kind of came in saying,
Yeah.
he admitted that coming in.
He had the story about him getting massages during team meetings when he was with the Packers, and then telling Jerry Jones, I watched every snap during his interview, and then getting into the first press conference and being like, maybe not every snap.
Yeah. It is tough. I mean, this new generation, they're a little more, they keep it 100.
Well, they don't. That is very well said, Daddy. I think that's exactly
Right?
how the youth would phrase
And
it.
and that will ruffle the feathers of the olds.
Well, they don't need the media to get their message out there.
yeah, right. They're it.
Everyone has a podcast now. They
People
can
don't
just
like
go unfiltered and say whatever they want.
And you got the guy on ESPN not liking it at all because, you know.
That's not how we did it back in my day.
Right. And also, I want to be the one that reports the story, reports how you feel.
Yeah. Give it to me first. Don't just go straight to your podcast.
So.
Yes, we mentioned Zack Baun. A lot of guys. Y'all were just teeing me up left, right, and center here. At the end of the season, I think Zack Baun, this is Aaron from his article, will end up being his IDP MVP. Probably going to be a lot of people's IDP MVP.
Yep.
Put up a second straight 20-plus point game and is currently LB2 on the season, IDP number 12 overall, his third straight game of an overall PFF grade of 90 or higher, and is the second highest graded LB in the league, again, only behind Fred Warner.
I mean, this is like a total AVG situation.
Yes.
Where, like, the play is great, but also, like, the grades are really good, you know? Like, dude is producing out of his mind. But
I wanted to look it up. Greg Rosenthal had a really good tweet about Zack Baun that I want to pull up.
But that's great. I mean, if he's getting love from media now too, I mean, this is a good stitch. And they gave him a 2-year deal, I believe, in Philly. Is that right? Or just a 1-year deal?
I thought it was just a 1-year deal, but we'll look that up.
But yeah, I mean, either way, he's played himself into a role on a defense.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt that he's going to be someone that you want in Dynasty. And just, you know, see how long this thing lasts. Like, you never know. Like, he could be the next, like, Azeez Al-Shaair. Like,
Could be.
It's easily could be that.
There's a lot of times we see these players just get miscast. We've said he is the reverse Hassan Reddick, where Reddick was miscast as an off-ball linebacker, gets switched to edge rusher, has a career resurgence. Zack Baun's just the opposite.
Yeah.
He was looked at as an edge rusher. Now he's playing off-ball linebacker and flourishing. Greg Rosenthal, Zack Baun being a legit option for an all-pro spot after 10 weeks is wild. So I've always said many times on this show, when you start crossing over into the normie NFL coverage, Bobo, that's a good signal to me that you're doing something right.
Yeah, he's a UFA in 2025, so
1-year deal. You got to think they try to bring him back, right?
yeah.
I would think so, yeah.
Him and Nakobe Dean both have seemed to kind of solidified that linebacker room for the Eagles.
Probably won't cost too much either.
Yeah.
You know, they could. He'll probably give a nice little deal. Like
Let's-
a 1 year, $8 million, or maybe like a 2 year, 20.
I was
going
going to say, yeah, something around like 2 years, 20 would make
Yeah.
sense.
Let's not overlook also Overshown for
yeah.
Dallas. He's been kind of a little Dante Fowler too. You know, everybody's kind of looking at Frankie Luvu, kind of looking at Micah Parsons. Let's look at Overshown's been great. He has now 3 sacks in the last 3 games. PFF pass rush grade last week of 67.6. He had a 71% snap share. I'm sure that's probably a little bit because, you know, that game just got out of hand pretty quick. But 2 sacks last week, win rate, pressure rate's all really good. Overshown, man, is a guy who getting pretty solid tackles. The playing time is ticking up a little bit. And then, also the big playability seems to be there. So I'm all in on Demarion.
He's on your all-crush team for 2024.
Absolutely.
Cancey's, driving the bus for the all-crush team, but Overshown's in there as well.
Tuli's there.
Tuli's there. Hopefully Overshown's okay. A little banged up. Came back into that game for some reason.
Why not?
So just monitor the health of Overshown.
Loves his team,
he's been
Josh.
great.
LB1.
That sun didn't bother him.
LB1?
Since week 6.
Wow.
In points per game. 19.3 points per game since week 6. So, stud.
What a weird year. I think we probably
crazy.
say that every year about this time.
It's true. We were saying the same thing last year about Van Ginkel, and then some of these guys just stick around and are actually good.
But this has been a lot of not obscure names, because there was Damone Clark versus DeMarvion Overshown debate behind Kendricks, but him popping. You've got Baun popping. It's just it goes to show.
Buda Baker having an insane
year.
Insane year. Yeah, it's definitely been different.
The Rams cut Ernest Jones in week 3 of the preseason.
Yeah, Tyrell Dodson gets caught.
So I saw a little more about that. He had some contract incentives coming up. That they were going.
That's really nice of you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He's played well. He's played every game. He's played well for you. I mean, just. And not cutthroat.
And they just signed him. So it's why would I go sign here if you guys are going to cut me if I get close to incentives?
It's I know Ernest Jones came in, but are you really that confident in Tyrese Knight?
Yeah, that's a bizarre move.
I know. I could not understand that one. And Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins was I was really shocked to see Tyrell Dodson out there available.
Yeah.
So our GM went out there and scooped him up pretty quick, because it was
smart.
We've got, Anthony Walker displaced David Long, but we're not really crazy about Anthony Walker. If we can go turn that into Tyrell Dodson and see what we got there alongside Jordan Brooks.
And they got plenty of look at him last year when he was in Buffalo. So,
that could be a little long-term deal there, too, for Dodson. I don't know I think Miami's cap is actually pretty bad, but if he plays well for them, it's just kind of one of those moves where it's they're 3-7. I think the Dolphins are. That season's pretty much done. But if they can get a good little look at him, maybe it's a little long-term spot for him. That'd be nice.
We talked about how slot corner, very profitable role. We've seen that as well for Jalen Pitre this year, scoring over 3 points per game more than last season. Another post-hype sleeper. We mentioned Marcus Jones kind of in that same category. He has moved into the slot and is Houston's nickel corner. Big part of the reason he's been so successful. Pitre played 60% of his snaps deep last year, and so far this season he's spent just 1.2% of his snaps deep, with just 7 total snaps played at free safety. So Pitre moving into the slot. We always say we want these slot boys out here. It's a very profitable role for IDP.
Yep, yeah, and I mean we should have expected a little bit of a bounce back, I think. Year 1 was out of control. There was no chance he was going to live up to the hype in year 2, and he did not, of course. And so, we got to see him kind of, it's kind of more in the middle now. It's that he's not going to be, safety 1, but he's going to be a nice little asset. He's going to, potentially get you 20 points in some games and have a nice tackle floor. So he's a good asset. He seems to be a pretty important piece on the defense. Every Texans game I watch, the dude's all over the place making plays. I think he's going to be a nice little piece in Dynasty too. So, good stuff from Pitre.
It's good to have him back.
Resurrected his value.
And just moving to a different position. I think he was probably miscast there as a free safety. I mean, they were gushing about him on Sunday Night Football. Collinsworth was talking about how he helps in the run fit. This dude is aggressive and a good tackler. And
he's just a guy you want closer to the line of scrimmage.
Yes, he just is a playmaker. Don't stick that guy deep. It's no wonder he fell off for NFL purposes and for IDP purposes. He was just miscast there. So I think they finally figured that out and got it corrected. But
141 tackles in 2022.
It was insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It was insane.
But the PFF numbers were not great. They're pretty good this year.
I wonder what his alignment looked like in 2022.
Also, one of those guys though that should have seen it coming a little more, because the college stats were same way, a guy that just stuffed the sheet.
Okay, so that's something I was thinking about this weekend. Man, the ability for college stats, offensively and defensively, to translate to the NFL is a massive, massive thing. If whoever it is, Ivan Pace, stacked up a ton of stats at Cincinnati, reason would stand to believe that this guy could maybe do it in the NFL also.
Yep.
And it's also the inverse of, You know, Dafe Owe didn't have a whole lot of sacks in college. There's a pretty solid chance Dafe Owe might not have a whole lot of sacks in the NFL. Like, I know all the PFF numbers are, you know, fun to look at, and I know all the metrics at the combine and everything are cool to look and see. Like, well, look at this guy's 40, and you know, look at the vertical that he's got. But what did he do in college? How many sacks did he have in college? You know, how many interceptions did he have in college? What was his, you know, what does tackling look like? I don't know. The more and more I think we play IDP, and honestly, offensive also, if these guys are productive in college, that's going to be a huge, huge point for me from a, you know, not necessarily like scouting, but from a rookie perspective moving forward.
It's easier to project people to produce in the NFL if they produced in college.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to chase that production because you do still have to have, like, the athleticism to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, there's Ivan Paces don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is a good –
You look at all the elite assets, though, all the top dogs. I mean, they were all really productive. Like, that's what we keep track of it in the sheets. I mean, you'll see it's a common thing.
get in these sheets with Addy.
It's a common thing with these guys. So
I found the alignment for Pitre. He was playing primarily free safety his rookie year as well. So he just maybe overperformed his rookie season, came back to earth in a big way in 2023, and then they said, you know what, let's try something a little bit different with you.
I mean, you can still be super productive playing free safety, right? I mean, we just saw Jesse Bates just put up, 130 tackles last season?
Yep.
You know, Minka's had some of those crazy years.
Yeah, you can have those pop years, but it doesn't tend to be sticky.
Right.
Because we've seen both those guys come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Was
in a big
D'Amico
way.
Ryans there last year?
He was.
Okay.
It was his first year.
So that's interesting.
But we're speaking of Houston. Welcome back, Azeez Al-Shaair. He returned to the starting lineup besides Henry To'o, and both guys had strong games, 18.5 and 19 points respectively. Al-Shaair had 8 tackles and a forced fumble. To'o posted 6 tackles and an interception. We know Al-Shaair is great. We know Henry T is filled in very well. What do we think about the Houston linebackers, though, once Christian Harris comes back from IR?
Oh, man. I mean,
It's a monkey wrench, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to trust any of them outside of Azeez. Like,
Yeah.
Azeez is good, but
I want to see how it shakes out between Henry and Christian Harris.
yeah, I don't know how it's going to work, man. I mean,
Because Henry's played well.
he's played well enough to where I think it's hard to just like completely go away from him. But we remember how Harris was, you know, to finish last season and into the playoffs. So I mean,
Is it one of those
it's
situations?
a good problem to have, I reckon.
Like the Falcons, where maybe they're used
That's
in
what I was thinking.
different situations.
50-50.
That's great. That makes both of them essentially useless. Now Anderson, I saw,
Yeah,
is
re-aggravated his knee.
Yeah, not
It
great.
sounds like he's going to be shut down.
I think they'll probably shut him down.
And yeah, we're just going to have to wait for that dude to get healthy. Like I don't know.
Man, are we going to be waiting forever though?
It could be.
Could be a
It
while.
You know, he's a youngin. It takes, you know, these guys need their bodies to mature
We
a little
had
bit.
one game where it was like he has the role, he's ready to go, he's fully healthy, and he scored 40 points. And it was like that's all you
tackle rate
get.
was insane.
That's all you get.
for what we got. But yeah, it's tough. But he, you know, I think he's worth holding on to and still worth being excited about just because like we have seen it, you know. And he'll get his opportunity at some point. Again, like, sometimes these injuries are just, you know, unlucky to start their career.
Hopefully it's not serious. Knee worries me a little bit. Hopefully it's just like, this is flared
He's
up.
a freak. He's a freak. He can.
Let's shut you
it'll heal.
down.
He's like a Wolverine type.
Wolverine. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, hopefully that made sense.
Hopefully did that connect with the youth out there? I've seen some Deadpool Wolverine commercials.
Does he heal himself easily?
He does.
Hopefully?
His healing factor is his superpower.
Thought
So
so.
big comic book guy over here,
I
Bobo.
love the stuff. I
Love
love
the
the Marvel stuff.
Love it
Yeah.
so much.
Huge, huge collection.
Oh, got it all.
Got it all. It's very well said. Bonus little nugget here at the end. Just shout out to Johnny. If you haven't been reading his Cornerback Corner article, you've been missing out. He highlighted Carlton Davis as one of his ideal plays this week. He was a demon in the passing game. He picked off Stroud twice and defended 2 passes, 25-point game. I think Johnny had 7 ideal calls, and they all smashed this past week. So
Guy's good.
read the article, fellas.
He's a stud, man. And
And-
also, like, yeah, read it for like the prop stuff too. Like, he's gonna give you a good insight. Like, the Vegas is not great at the cornerback and defensive back props.
They are not. I think him and Varnes was on IDP bets this past week. I think the 2 most recent appearances with Varnes on there, they've gone 9-3.
Wow.
So check it out.
Yeah, a couple studs.
And, check out Scott's streaming DL article. He has had a great season over there as well. So if you need to stream defensive tackle, D-end, cornerback, we got you covered. Because we know there are different approaches.
And if you don't, get in there and learn about those guys. Like, a lot of these guys will be very relevant someday, I'm sure he was talking about Justin M before, he was Justin M. Zach Allen before he was Zach Allen. Like, Dexter Lawrence, same thing. So
he is a DL hipster. He knows
For
all
sure.
the hot
For
DLs
sure.
before they become mainstream, Bobo.
Yeah, that's got to be tough for him, seeing everyone talk about these guys that he's been, pumping for
knew
years.
I knew him first. I talked about him 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot to be.
Yeah.
But this is the work we are called to do,
It's
Bobo.
the cross we have to carry, being so good at this.
Being such a Marvel fan as well.
Sure. I just love it all. I love everything.
Oh, Bobo.
One of them nights.
I think we need to get out of here before Adam
You've been
says something
sipping on
else.
that
I know.
Flanders.
You've been
8.5 in this, so
you've been drinking more of that?
I'm thirsty.
I told you.
Desperate times,
Hey,
baby.
desperate times, desperate measures.
Only had one beer of mine in the fridge.
We need to restock the fridge.
Yeah.
Bobo finally got us a fridge out here 5 years later. Thank you, Bobo.
You're welcome.
Keep
That's a
them cold,
good. It's a
too.
good little fridge.
It is.
Damn, the
thing.
fridge.
Really good.
Yeah, really, really good.
Thank you
fridge.
for that.
Anytime.
I love beer.
All right, we're definitely getting out of here now. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@theIDP show. We have the legend, Gary Davenport, on the IDP After Show this week, so make sure you check that out as well. IDP Bets coming up with Jeff Pomazal on Friday, and, of course, the Sunday morning live stream. If you got lineup questions, we got answers. Check it out, 9 a.m. Central, over on YouTube. And make sure you check out theidpshow.com. We are cranking over there with the content as well. But until next week, y'all take care, enjoy the football, and we'll see you soon.
It's the IDP show, now you know.